Hello and welcome back to New Paradigm Healing. This series focuses on Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy. Our intention is to educate, inform, and support the conscious and responsible use of ayahuasca in the Western context. If you want to know more about Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy and our upcoming trainings and workshops, sign up for our mailing list to be the first one to know about the latest news at 𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚.com. Well, hello and welcome back to all of our listeners. We are excited to be here today and share some insights and tips and tools and funny stories about diet and how can diet support your ayahuasca integration process and the healing process in general. So a lot of people, I think everybody is kind of interested in diet, for various reasons. So this is always a good topic to add another perspective to. So welcome, Casey. I'm happy that you're here with me and bringing your light. So yeah, and a big welcome to all of our listeners.
Yeah, thank you again. This is so much fun to be on this journey with you. So diet. This is something whenever I got the list of things for the diet and what I could and couldn't eat, I was pretty clean eating. Like I don't eat meat, those things, but it was super intimidating, the no salt and the no oil, because I don't think I've ever in my life gone without salt and oil. So I remember that being super intimidating. And then I did it and it really wasn't as bad as it's in my head, like a lot of other things. And, by the end I could taste the salt in a sweet potato. I could taste the salt in a carrot. So what is your experience with the diet leading up? Kind of talk about the reason for it, for cleaning the body, and why this extreme diet in your experience when you were going through this yourself.
Yeah, totally. I would love to share. Well, I want to say first that there is a lots of different types of diet, and it also depends on the lineage and what kind of shamans and guides and plant masters you are working with who are leading the diet. They're going to give you specific guidance, and but in general, I think we can say that the diet recommended before an ayahuasca ceremony is at least a week-long cleanse, but I would say 2 weeks is better. And this is basically just a plant-based diet, so no meat, no dairy, no, as you said, spices basically, and no stimulants, no coffee, no sugar. So it's just very, very simple vegetarian. When I was doing it in Peru, I remember we had some rice, we had some tomatoes, we had, oh my gosh, a pineapple, I think, like 3 or 4 things. That was it, that was the diet. And so very minimal. And the purpose of this is obviously from the physical perspective, is to prepare the body to receive the medicine. And the ayahuasca wine itself has a very strong detoxifying effect on the body. So it's a cleansing effect. So logically, if you think about it, that you are very full of waste and toxicity, then when you receive this medicine, it's going to be a stronger reaction to that when your body suddenly gets cleared and the toxins pushed out. So one purpose of it is to kind of pre-cleanse the body as much as possible, so that detoxification and cleansing, what will come with the ayahuasca, will not be so strong and so painful or uncomfortable for you, for the people personally. I think that's a logical step for preparation for your own benefit, and I certainly witnessed people having very humbling experiences who didn't do any preparation or diet, and having partied the day before and drinking alcohol and then going into the ceremony, and yeah, they had very humbling experience. So it's I think it's wise, to consider these practices that were upheld, for many thousands of years for a good reason. Part of the cleanse is they encourage you to avoid sexual contact, watching TV, listening to radio, these kind of things. This is more like kind of mental, emotional, energetic withdrawal. So as you're doing the cleanse, you are bringing your energy back to yourself instead of turning outwards and focusing on other things or other people, are exchanging energy with other people. For example, in an intimate or sexual way, you are calling your energy back and conserving that energy and bringing it back to be focused, in you, and to be cleansed from other types of energies that you are entangled with, during everyday life. So there is like an energetic and the mental, emotional kind of withdrawal as you're doing this cleanse, and that's another reason for it. And I think on a spiritual level, it is a ritual. It's an initiation. And when you go into any kind of temple or place that you hold sacred, you do rituals, you cleanse yourself, you take your shoes off or cover your head, whatever is, the ritual that you decided to take. So that's also like a spiritual, energetic aspect of it. So that's kind of my take on it right now. Like, how was your experience apart from, the tasting and all of that? Can you relate, on the other levels as well, or how was that for you?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting for me because like maybe 2 years before this retreat, I was bit by a tick. So I developed this thing called 𝙁𝙁 syndrome where I'm allergic to anything with hooves. And so meat and dairy, and then I just developed where I couldn't even eat meat. Like it just didn't taste good. So naturally, my body rejected that for me. But the salt and the oil, and even now, just the transition in my diet, my body was just said yes and no. So it became a very clear. And now I even see red and green. So if I can eat something, it's a red. If I can't eat something, it's a red. If I can't eat something, it's a green. So now I'm just showed by spirit and directed what's safe and what's not. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, but for the most, it's mainly plants, and that all started a little bit before. But the diet itself, I remember being really, really hungry in the jungle. So I ate like twice as much probably, or I wanted to, because, we had to share with everybody. But, I would eat like, I don't know, usually like half that and be stuffed. So I do remember being extremely hungry and not understanding why I could be so hungry, because I was just sitting in a hammock, or like I wasn't physically active to need that much food. So what do you think about that? Did you experience being really hungry?
I can't recall that I was so hungry. I after the first ceremony, I felt like I was in kind of like constant diarrhea and uncomfort, digestive uncomfort and any other kinds of uncomfort. So I think I recall that I wasn't missing eating so much because, I didn't feel so good. My body was kind of convoluted, for a while, thanks to the diet.
And I was in medicine all night. So I didn't sleep. The 6 ceremony nights, I didn't sleep at all. And so it was all out by the morning because my digestive system just took a hit. Like it was just like you said, like, whoa, like I couldn't sleep because I was going back and forth from the bathroom.
Yeah. So definitely, there is this purging, detoxifying effects. It has other aspects of emotional purging, so on and so forth, but we more talk about the physical aspect today. And you mentioned earlier that you were going towards this more healthier or high vibrational diet, naturally navigating towards that even before the the medicine, and then is there any changes since then that you kind of associate with your medicine journey that you experienced?
Yeah, I will say that color and, like you
Mhm.
said, like the high vibrational foods, you just feel differently. So whereas I just know now, it's like, okay, the consequences of it. It's just the reality. If I eat this, this is what I'm going to need a nap. I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. If I have a green juice and lots of colors and things that are going to give me fuel, I'm going to be a lot more productive in my day. So it changed in the way that I'm not using it as a thing for pleasure. I'm using it as a thing for purpose and fuel.
And nourishment.
Nourishment, yes.
Absolutely. And wow, this is, I want to ask more about this, because I think this is what I would like to address as well. That happens to a lot of people. So what you are really talking about, that you are really tapped in, tuned in, turn on into your body. You're listening to your body and what feels good to your body and what doesn't feel good, how your body feels after choosing to eat this food or that food. And then you are taking that on board, reflecting on it, and then you apply it and you go towards what feels good to you, and you don't follow any particular outside guidance, but you are tapping into this internal guidance, and that gives you that, and you, as your experience, that as you follow this guidance, you are led to this more high vibrational and nourishing foods. Is that correct?
That's correct. You said it way better than I did.
Yeah, this was happen, this was happens to so many people. That's exactly my experience with my personal experience with the medicine, working with the medicine for years, and my experience with my clients who I led through the integration process and followed their journey, is that this is the common dominator, what you just mentioned, that they feel more connected to their physical body, they feel more grounded in their physical body, they hear, they listen and hear the messages from their body. This feels good, this doesn't feel good. They listen to that, they trust that, and they act upon it, they follow that guidance. And this is, I think, the biggest shift, that from an external guidance, which is, oh, I'm going to follow this diet or that diet, or what this doctor says, or what that therapist said, or what this modality says. Instead of that, you are following an internal guidance that is specific for you, because, as you said, everybody is different. So you can say, oh, this is good for everybody, and maybe not. And ultimately it's your body that will tell you that, yes, this feels nourishing, this feels lovely, I feel light, I feel energized, I feel happy when I eat this, when I drink this. And yeah, this doesn't feel good, I feel super heavy and bloated, and I just want to sleep, and don't talk to me right now. And that doesn't feel good to me, hard to digest, all that kind of things. And at the same time, while people tapping into that guidance, there is a commonality, as you said, that while this guidance is specific to the individual, it's also collective in a way that it is definitely a movement towards a more organic, fresh, and plant-based diet. What is your, do you know other people who work in this context with the medicine and their experience of, longer term, like a year or two, and dietary changes?
Yeah, my roommate from the jungle is like my best friend, and she's gotten healthier. But I think it's interesting because it's a little easier for me because I live by myself. And I think with like she's married, and I think when it comes to living and sharing your space with someone else and like preparing meals together, it's like that's where there's a little bit more of a challenge for people. But no, I mean, I'm responsible for it. So like I don't keep stuff in my house that aren't going to be beneficial to my overall goal, which, purpose, which is to have energy and be productive and get stuff done and share this bright light that we have to share with the world. And to do that, I need bright foods. And it's such a game changer whenever you start seeing food as power and as fuel and as nutrition to be able to walk 5 miles every day and still have energy to, do a yoga class or, work a little bit at night and those things. Do you feel different whenever you're eating? Even like frozen foods, to me, I feel a difference in fresh food versus frozen food, even if it's vegetables. Do you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very sensitive to different foods, and my body is very sensitive. And yeah, I think it takes some time to change, as you said, programming and habits, and especially if you cohabit with other people who are used to certain type of eating or diet. And but at the same time, you can look at it as an opportunity as well, to bring in positive changes into your diet and your family's diet. And definitely I recommend this movie Game Changers. It's available on Netflix, because that's totally bust that myth that I think most people think that it's not really healthy to be vegetarian or vegan or not to consume meat. Some people believe that you can't get sufficient nutrients from plant-based nutrition. And some people believe that even if you can do all that, still you will have no energy, and and therefore your performance will be less. And this documentary brings a lot of evidence to the contrary, actually, that these are not true facts. And I am vegetarian for like many years now. Sometimes I eat a piece of fish if my body is telling me and I feel craving for certain kind of food that I would normally not eat. I honor that and I eat it. It's not an ideological thing for me, but mostly I don't have any craving or desire to eat meat or dairy products or processed food or things like that. Simply it doesn't taste good to me. If I eat a little bit, I feel my energy drops down. I feel uncomfort in my body. So I think this is just logical, to think about if you go into a gas station and gonna buy a sandwich that is in a plastic packaging,
Right.
versus you are on a farm and you go out in the garden and you take the fresh vegetables and you go in there and somebody baked the bread and you wash your vegetables and put it on that fresh bread that somebody just made out of the oven. It is, you can just think about these two pictures and feel different about it. This has nothing to do, for me, about saving the planet or the animals or anything. It's just simply, what feels better for you, what picture, what and what feels better for your body, and honoring that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you are working with this medicine, it is a good opportunity to make these positive changes, and long term your body will be grateful. And this is preventative medicine, so to say, because your diet has a lot to do with chronic disease and different things that is not our topic today. But having a healthy diet, not just that you feel better in the moment and your body feels better and you have more energy and you have more clarity, but also you're going to save on healthcare and doctors and all of these things in the future, and you will enjoy your life more. So there's not really a side effect, or there's not many things that you can lose apart from habits and cravings that you think now that you can't live without.
Well, it has been 2 years since I've taken any kind of medication that didn't come from a plant. So we're talking an Advil, an allergy pill. And it's weird because my friends around here think that's crazy. And to me, I don't take even like vitamins. So I think we underestimate what our bodies are capable of. And we think we need all of these things that we really don't. We don't need the massive amounts of protein. And to me, like you, I got the little, clue, like eggs. Eggs don't bother me digestion wise. A vegan might say, how dare you eat eggs? Or like you said, a little bit of fish. But if my body is telling me, then I'm going to honor that, not the labels of what it should be. And I think you nailed that when you said, you know, honoring yourself.
Yeah,
And how do
absolutely.
you use these foods to heal yourself? Like if you're having some digestion problems, are there certain kinds of foods that you will go to help that? Or if you're having headaches, do you use food at all for healing?
Yeah, definitely. If I feel imbalanced or I have a pain or discomfort somewhere, I do make dietary steps. So, for example, you know, if I have something with my digestion and I don't feel good, I would just drink coconut water and green juice for one day to give my body a little break, to nourish my body, not to put more strain on it, and to rest a little, you know, to have to process whatever, you know, was going through and stuck there. So yeah, definitely using it as medicine. And as you mentioned, you know, a lot of people navigate towards also natural medicine, the same as diet, going towards more natural diet and fresh diet. They also feel different way about chemicals, about pharmaceuticals, about using chemicals in beauty products or cleaning products or things like that. They become more sensitive, more aware, and prefer to make more natural choices because they feel and experience, you know, the effect. At the same time, there are these funny stories when, you know, you remember that, oh, I used to eat a hamburger or something, and you walk by and you have the smell and you have the memory come back or something, and you say, wow, I want that, you know, because your mind, you remember the good memories. So you go and buy one, and you bite into it, and it tastes horrible to you, you know, and normally people still kind of try to eat it. No, this used to be good. And then you eat it and then you feel horrible, you know, and your whole body, and it's like, oh, this wasn't really a good idea, you know. I remember that it used to be good, but not a good idea anymore. So yeah, it takes a while, you know, to make changes. And I recommend that people make small changes and stick to it and practice, and then introduce small and little changes, because yeah, it's a different way of living. It's definitely a dietary lifestyle, not a diet, you know, that you do for 2 weeks, but something that you kind of will keep doing till the rest of your life, hopefully. How do you feel about that?
I'm still improving every day, but I also think diet's one of those things that, like you said, little things. It's something that I think we all struggle with at times, and especially like emotional eating, I've been connected to. So it's really important for me to really examine why am I craving? Why do I want to eat? I'm not hungry. There's this emotional side of it too that was kind of shamed, really hard to talk
Absolutely.
about. So, you know,
Maybe a next episode, maybe we do an episode
yeah,
on that, because I certainly work with people with eating disorders, and, you know, these kind of things are strongly connected with emotional trauma. And I think a lot of people can relate. And, you know, the media programming of how you should look like and how your body, you know, that's very unrealistic. So I think that's a great idea. Thank you for offering. We're going to dive into that in future episodes. And yeah, check out my blog on avatarhealingarts.com, because I wrote articles about diet and emotional expression and all related topics that I have a little more time to go into specific topics. And I would love to get your feedback, and stay tuned to our next episode. Love to all of our listeners, wherever you are. Lots of love to you all, and stay tuned. Love you all.
Bye.